During the course of FM24, I've made countless saves and made plenty of different videos, and during all of that, I've used plenty of different Wonderkids in Football Manager. Today though, I'm going to choose my favourite. It's time for my ultimate Wonderkid Dream 11. That's right, it's time for this year's iteration of the Dream Team video. If you're not a long-standing fan of the channel, you might not know, but every year I will pick my favourite Wonderkids in a team of 11 from goalkeeper to striker, an actual structure that works. I'm not looking at the highest rated Wonderkids or the cheapest or the biggest bargains. I'm just looking for my favourites, the guys that I've always had do well for me, the ones that I've had good stories with, and hopefully by doing so I'll give you guys some good suggestions also. Now if you have been watching the channel this year, you'll know we did a video like this for when the winter update came out, where we only focused on upgraded winter update players, and we also made one about 2 weeks into FM24 where I picked some of my favourites based on attributes and showcased them. But now I've had plenty of time with the game, I've found plenty of different players, so this is going to be my ultimate Dream 11. And normally I would start with a goalkeeper in this team, but I'm going to make an exception to give an honourable mention. This guy just missed out on my Dream 11. This is Samu Amora-Dion, the 12th man in this team. The 19-year-old Spanish forward playing for Alaves on loan from Atletico Madrid is an absolute monster in this year's game. I know he's not the best technically, but mentally he's strong and physically he is unbelievable, and that's the reason why I wanted to pick him, but I just thought he'd miss out based on the striker that I have in my team that we'll get to later. But Amora-Dion, by the time he's 20, 21, those physical attributes will be off the charts. The guy's valued at 20 odd million pounds, which is quite expensive, but isn't extortionate for the player you're getting, and usually after his loan at Alaves, Atletico won't really use him, and then he will usually be quite obtainable, even if you're not a mega team in world football. So he is one of the best forwards, one of the best Wonderkids in this year's game, hands down, but he just misses out on my 11. And before we get started with the goalkeeper, I want you guys to let me know down below who would be in your Wonderkid Dream Team, either one player or if you want to do your full 11, I'd love to hear it. Maybe we can even make follow-up videos based on your suggestions. Don't forget as well, if you do enjoy the video, smash the like button, subscribe for more, and let's get in to player number 1. And we've got Guillaume Restes as my number 1 in the net, the 18-year-old French keeper from Toulouse. Now this will be interesting to see just how different my Dream 11 is from the first one I did when FM24 first came out, and I will tell you there's only a few surviving players in this team, and Restes is a new addition. He is someone that over the course of this year I've grew more fond of. I've used him in a lot of saves. If you don't know, I do a rebuild every single week on my own channel, which, subtle plug, if you want to check it out, you can find it linked in the description. Over there every week I start with a new club, sometimes small, sometimes big, and on a few occasions I have picked up Restes, and this guy, Neona Fourways in every save, will be France's number 1, one of the world's most elite goalkeepers, and the fact that you can get him for 30 million, yes he is expensive, but it is still a bargain really for what you're getting. I would rank him down a little bit based on his price, but compared to some of the other ones out there, I think he's just a little bit of a level above. I like Dennis Simon this year, I like a few other names too, but Restes for me just tops a lot. He is one for the more elite sides, but sometimes Toulouse can get relegated and he'll be even cheaper than the price you're seeing here, so keep an eye on him. If you can get him for your team, you are set up for the next 20 years in goal if you get him at the earliest time. And I've changed my mind about the left back too. This guy hasn't featured on my Dream 11 yet this year, but he is someone that I wanted to highlight. This is more of a recent bias, I suppose, because I've used him in a few saves that I've done recently. This is Andrea Borza. He's a 17-year-old Romanian who is a breakthrough prospect at his club, Football Club Rapid 1923, a side out in Romania who clearly have some good facilities for producing young talents, and Borza is one of them. The 17-year-old is a fantastic option at left back. Is he stand out in any area just yet? Not necessarily, but you can see in every attribute he would need to play that wing back role, he has got everything at a good level, and he's only 17 here. So by the time he's 20, 21, he'll be off the charts, 14s, 15s in pretty much every single area. He's valued at about 3 million quid at the start of your save. You will have to wait a little bit before you can sign him because he has only recently joined his side in Romania, but give it some time, check him out when you can, bring him to your team, and you will have a left back that is easily going to be one of the best in his position for the next 15 years. Now I believe when I first made my Dream 11, Michael Coyote was my choice of right back, the Italian playing for Fiorentina, but now I've gone for a different Italian. This is Filippo Missouri, who I think just pips it for me. I think Coyote is a better player, but I've just had Missouri on more occasions because of his price. He's someone that I've used regularly, 19 years of age at Sassuolo for about 5 million. He isn't completely unobtainable, whereas Coyote tends to be for the really big teams. If you you don't know Michael Coyote, I'll quickly show him. Here he is, an unreal talent, aged 18. He's younger, arguably better straight away with more potential, but he is more pricey and is usually only willing to join some of the major clubs. But again, this is my best 11, it doesn't have to be yours. And I really like Missouri. I think he's a really well-rounded right-back option. Sassuolo have got a real talent on their hands here. Mentally, he is super well-rounded. Only leadership is the only fault in his game, which isn't too bad at all. He's quick, he's good going forward with his crossing, passing, vision and technique. He's got great work rate as well. A real modern-day fullback, not bad on his left foot either. Good first touch, dribbling ability. If you're looking for a right-back to get forward, then Missouri will be your man. I've had plenty of success with him, sold him on for far more than the 5 million you can buy him for, but just be quick, because it won't be long before Sassuolo give him minutes, and that value tends to rise. One player I know was in my Dream 11 at the start of FM24 and remains there still is Martin Vitek, one of my favourite players in this year's game. 20-year-old Czech centre-back playing for Sparta Prague that you can pick up for 6 million, and you can see you have to be quick because he's wanted by Liverpool and PSG at the start of his save, and you can easily see why. Plenty of quality, plenty of potential, a cheap price point. If he was playing for, you know, a Real Madrid or Barcelona, he'd be a 50-60 million pound player, but because he's still at Sparta Prague, you can get him on a cut price deal. He's determined as well, good in the air, strong and quick. The guy has got everything he needs to be an unreal centre-back. I've talked about him enough times before that I'm not going to focus on him for too long, but Martin Vitek is an absolute animal in centre-back. But I actually prefer his partner in my team, Abakar Silla. Strasbourg's Ivorian 20-year-old is a player that might not have the potential some other centre-backs do, but Silla is just one of those guys that is so satisfying to look at when he develops. And I don't mean in terms of his picture, I mean in terms of his attributes, because once this guy is 21, 22, you will have 20 aggression, 20 leadership, nearly guaranteed every single time. He is good in the air, he is quick, and he is strong. He's not the best with a ball at his feet, he's not terrible, but 8 vision, 11 passing maybe isn't the world's best, so if you're looking for a really good progressive centre-back, he isn't the one, but play him alongside someone like that and have him do the dirty work, and you will absolutely love him. The fact that this guy's 20 and has 19 leadership, bravery, aggression just tells you how good he can be. Decent marking, his heading's good, good work rate, teamwork. This man is going to be the leader in your defence, the linchpin. Yes, 25 mil is a lot, but I've seen him available for 70 mil, sometimes 10 mil, depending on how his career goes at Strasbourg. He is probably one of my most signed players in the rebuilds on my channel this year, and I just love him. What a leader, what a guy, Abakar Silla. A bit of an out there pick that again comes from a bit of recency bias, I suppose. Isaac Johansson of Copenhagen on loan at Dusseldorf out in Germany, I think is an unreal 20-year-old talent for the price you can get him for. Now, the reason I say that he's a bit of a rogue pick, I suppose, is because yes, he's definitely not there in the potential aspects that some of the wonder kids that you can get in this year's game are. Obviously, I've missed out the likes of João Neves in this team, Warren Zaire-Emery, Bellingham, all of those guys, and I'm sure a lot of you will love them, but Isaac Johansson is just a player that I'm always drawn to in-game. Pretty much every time his loan at Dusseldorf will end. I don't know if there is an optional buy fee. There is for 1.7 million. I hardly ever see them activate that. I always see him back at Copenhagen. My scouts will report him to me after a couple of years in my rebuild, and you're usually able to pick him up. Copenhagen are a big team, but they're not usually big enough to reject, say, a Premier League side's advances, and when you can send £10 million their way and get a very well-rounded central midfielder, I find it really hard not to go for him. Now, he is definitely more forward-thinking than he is defensive. He is very versatile for sure, but I think as a Mazzala on that attack duty is where I've had the best success with him. I think he's an unreal player in the midfield, super well balanced, isn't going to go on to be, you know, the world's best central midfielder, but will easily be a top 6 level Premier League midfielder every single time. I think he's great in game as well. He just seems to always get me high average match ratings. Your scouts will usually rave about him because he tears up Denmark when he does play for Copenhagen. And Isaac Johansson, an Icelandic wonder kid, what more could you want? Pick him up in your save and I promise you, you won't regret it. A far more obvious pick in this team though is Sever Housef Naipan. How could he not make the list? Rosenborg's £5 million 16-year-old central midfielder already has a talent that some players would dream of having, and he's only 16. He's either-footed as well, and I mean either-footed. He is very good with both feet. He is versatile, but ideally you want him as an attacking central midfielder, whether that is actually central midfielder or maybe playing as a Mazzala on the attack. He's creative, he's a good dribbler, good first touch, and whatever you're seeing here doesn't really matter, because by the time that you do actually use him when he's 18, 19, he will have attributes that some players can only dream of. He'll be a completely different player to what you're seeing now, and he's already very good for a 16-year-old. The fact that he's at Rosenborg and is still quite inexpensive makes him an absolute must for my dream team this year. Naipan is a phenomenal midfielder with huge potential as well, and is a must-have in every save if you can get him. As is the big man, Asan Udrego, one of my favourite, if not my favourite player in this year's game. He's someone that has so much going for him in-game, and let me list off all of those things. Firstly, great starting ability for a 17-year-old and big potential. Second thing, he has got really well-rounded attributes that just go alongside his game perfectly as a central midfielder. He can play pretty much any role in there. Again, he might not be the most defensive in the world with only 9 tackling, 8 position and 8 marking. You can change that if you want to, or you can train him to have an even better attacking output to his game. But that's not all. By the time this guy is 18, 19, his attributes will be really well-rounded, but it's those physicals where he usually shines. He's already a starter at Schalke, which means he does get that game time and he does pretty much always develop in your saves. But the best thing is his price. Yes, sometimes you will see he will cost 20, 30 million quid, but you can see it's worth 10 million pounds here at the start of your save. That'll be consistent across most saves. You'll get really lucky though if Schalke go into administration, which happens in a lot of saves. It happened in my own rebuild with Schalke, and they are forced to sell their players for a cheap fee. So keep your eye on Drago. In Season 1, you can usually get him at a cut price deal. If not, and you have to pay 10 million, boohoo, it's still a very good price for what is one of the best midfielders, not just this year, last year as well, he was exceptional. And I'm sure he will be going forward because he's just been signed, I believe, by RB Leipzig. Moving into my attack now, I've got 2 attacking midfielders and then a striker. The first one is a player that was introduced or upgraded, I can't remember exactly now, in the winter update, Franco Mastantuono. Either way, once the winter update came out, this guy was a must-have in every save. You see his attributes, you think, wow, he's got 14 passing, 14 technique, 14 dribbling, first touch, and finishing of a similar level too. And you think this guy must be, 20, 21. No, this guy is only 15. You can pick him up for 5 million from River Plate, and the fact that you can give this guy 5 years of in-game time, and he'll still be usually playing for River Plate as a regular starter with far better attributes than what you're seeing here, and still be able to be classed as a Wonderkid because he'll still be young enough, is crazy. This guy is one of the must-haves in this year's game. Get him as soon as you can, give him game time as soon as you can, and you could genuinely have the next Lionel Messi in your team. I then was trying to balance up whether to have Baldanzi in my side or Simone Pafundi, but I've gone for Pafundi in the end. The Italian 17-year-old is an international already, supposedly, for Italy, playing for Udinese, but is on loan at La Swan. But if you wait out that loan and sign this guy for 10, 15 million, you're sorted in attacking midfield. You will have an unreal player. He'll only be 18 at that point as well. By the time this guy's 22, 23, he is already one of the elite midfielders in world football. The Italian has everything going for him, a great set of starting attributes as well. There's nothing that you really need to super work on in his game to get him to be a good player. No, everything he needs is already at a good level. By the time you sign him, it'll be at a great level, and then you can reap the rewards of that. Simone Pafundi, for me, has always been excellent and is one that I have to have in my dream team. And now we get on to my final player, my striker. I thought about Amora Dion, as you know, as an honourable mention. I even considered Shaquille Van Persie, Karim Konate, but in the end, I have decided to settle on Semih Kılıçsoy. The Turkish 17-year-old is already Besiktas' starting striker. This is one of the best sides in Turkey, and he is already starting for them up front. He's an unreal player. He's already got 14 dribbling, finishing, and great first touch too. His mental attributes are strong, and his physical attributes are great too. He'll usually have some pretty good speed by the time he's developed, and he is strong. This guy is an unreal talent, can score with either feet, and for me is my favourite striker, I think, of this year's game. I say I think because my mind changes every few weeks depending on which players I've been using, but Semih Kılıçsoy is another one that I've had in a lot of rebuilds. He never lets me down. He is always a 30, 40 goal a season striker, and that's usually when he's 19, 20. If I was to wait it out until he's in his prime, I guarantee this guy will be one of the best strikers in your Football Manager save. Give him a chance, bring him in from Besiktas, and you'll have an unreal player, and that completes my Wonderkid Dream 11. I'd love to know who would make yours in the comments. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.